Hi, I'm Eric Voss, and Captain Marvel has arrived, providing this final piece of the puzzle for Avengers Endgame with the origin of Nick Fury and the arrival of Carol Danvers as the latest addition to the Avengers lineup. And as always, Marvel kept those movie theater ushers on the clock a bit longer with some traditional post-credit reveals, footage with big implications for the next Marvel installment. So I'm gonna break it all down and explain its deeper importance. Now, if you haven't had a chance to see Captain Marvel yet, don't worry, I haven't spoiled anything. Just go watch the movie, come back here, I get lonely. And one last spoiler warning because I will talk about major plot reveals from the Captain Marvel movie itself. Cool? Okay, let's get started. Captain Marvel features two post-credit scenes, and they both carry some major importance for the events of Avengers Endgame. First, a scene that looks like it'll actually appear in the Endgame film. It starts with a close-up of Nick Fury's pager, still emitting that signal to Captain Marvel, just like it was the moment he dusted away in the post-credit scene after Avengers Infinity War. So in the events of Captain Marvel, Carol takes away Fury's pager, but she gives it back to him at the end of the movie with a bunch of new tech upgrades so that it can transmit across galaxies, and she says only to use it in case of emergencies before she heads off into space. But back to the scene. Suddenly, this pager blinks off. Then we see Steve Rogers and Natasha Romanoff observing a screen with numbers reporting the climbing totals of missing persons around the world. I don't think this is happening in real time. This is a bit after the snap, I think. And these are just reports of the casualties that are now finally pouring in. And this is the same screen that we see Bruce Banner mourning at in the Endgame trailer, where Scott Lang, Peter Parker, and Shuri from Black Panther are among the missing. Now, this global number climbs up over 3.25 billion, meaning it's approaching 50% of our actual global population. Half would be around 3.8 billion. Cap says this is a nightmare. Natasha responds, I've had better nightmares. And this whole moment feels like a callback to the moment in the beginning of Captain America Civil War, when Secretary Ross guilt-tripped them with the statistics of casualties from past Avengers conflicts, except these numbers are obviously way higher. But then Rhodey walks in saying that thing stopped doing whatever the hell it was doing, and then the three join Bruce Banner in the lab, where he has hooked up Fury's pager to a new energy source to try to keep its signal going. Banner reports that whatever the signal the pager was sending finally crapped out. Cap says, I thought we bypassed the battery. Rhodey says they did and it's still plugged in, but it stopped. And Cap says, reboot it and send the signal again, you know, because he's an old man and one of those geeks in the t-shirts at the store told him that unplugging and replugging stuff is all it takes to fix it. But then Banner says, we don't know what this thing is. Natasha says, Fury did, so just do it please. Tell me the second you get a signal, I want to know who's on the other end of that thing. And then she turns around, bam, Captain Marvel. Carol asks, concerned, where is Fury? So yeah, the reason this pager stopped signaling is because the person who was signaling has arrived. Captain Marvel's look has changed. Her hair is parted down the middle, her suit now has more gold lining on the shoulders, the star emblem has been updated. Wherever she has been in her time off of Earth has allowed her look to evolve. And looking back on the Avengers Endgame trailer, I'm guessing that it's Captain Marvel that Black Widow's talking to when she reports what Thanos did.
50% of all living creatures.
I guess she could also be talking to Scott Lang, maybe she's talking to both of them. Really, the big takeaway here is that there is another major character joining these four. And all those theories that we had in the recent Endgame trailer footage, a fifth character might have been digitally removed to hide a reveal. Those might be accurate, guys. Carol Danvers might be joining Natasha, Cap, Banner, and Rhodey on the Avengers HQ lawn. And she might be in that whole lineup March shot, once Scott Lang, Thor, and Rocket join them. And if, as I speculated in the past, this is their first step in their journey through time or through another reality in the multiverse, Captain Marvel could be the one enabling that. And yes, you may have noticed that Cap still does have his beard in this new footage, unlike the trailers we've seen for Endgame, which feature him clean shaven. This could be a sign of the fact that he's no longer the fugitive that he was between Civil War and Infinity War, and now maybe he's like cleaned up to try to move on and cheer people up in this snaptermath after some time has passed. Or if you really want to go full tinfoil, maybe shaving his beard is something Cap has to do for this coming mission. Like, say, going back in time or going into a parallel timeline and swapping into the role of his alternate self or previous self before he had a woodland creature on his face. Or to put this in terms of Rick and Morty, it would be hard for Mustache Morty to knock out C-137 Morty and take his place. You know, you gotta shave the stash. And if none of this makes sense to you, don't worry. I'm sure Doctor Strange will explain everything in... Holy shit! 7 weeks? There's no time to waste. Let's move on to the other post-credits scene. This one's a shorter one, and it just shows Nick Fury's empty office, but on his desk hops Goose, the cat, revealed in this movie to be a Flurkin. Flurkins are alien creatures from the Marvel comics that look like cats from Earth, but they actually contain inner mouths with teeth and tentacles. They lay eggs, and inside them are these pocket dimensions that allow them to swallow large quantities. Goose eats a lot of stuff in this movie, including the Tesseract. And it is the Tesseract that Goose coughs up like a hairball in this scene. Blah. So the Tesseract plays a pretty big role in the Captain Marvel movie, and it looks like there were some changes to what we knew, at least, about the Marvel timeline with the Tesseract. Like, apparently after Howard Stark came across it on the ocean floor while searching for Cap, S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't always have complete possession of it from that point forward. Annette Bening's character, revealed to be named Mar-Vell, was using the Tesseract, and of course the Space Stone inside of it, to experiment with things like light speed, intergalactic travel. The Tesseract stayed inside Earth's orbit and Mar-Vell's lab, but later in the movie, Carol puts it in a lunchbox, Goose eats it, and Nick Fury ends up holding on to Goose for safekeeping. Really, the Tesseract is a visual symbol of how Captain Marvel's whole story sets up the origin of Nick Fury in the Avengers saga. We learn in the final moments of the movie that Fury decided to rename S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Protector Initiative, which was he and Coulson's project to assemble other superpowered individuals like Carol. They renamed it to the Avengers Initiative after Carol's pilot call sign, Avenger. Nice. So obviously the first post-credits scene showed a scene from the movie Endgame, kind of like how the post-credits scene after Ant-Man showed a scene that looked like it would be in the upcoming Captain America Civil War. But if you remember, the final version of the Civil War movie played out slightly different. So here's what I'm wondering. Do you think this Avengers post-credits scene will actually be in Endgame? Or could the Russos still tinker with the editing to make it all play out differently in the movie? Comment down below with your thoughts. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at EAVoss. Subscribe to this channel at New Rockstars. And if you happen to live in the LA area, come check out my live comedy show, Darkest Timeline. It's every first Friday of the month at Acme in North Hollywood. Features me, some hilarious nerds, celebrity guests, ticket info below. Thank you for watching, and I gotta say, I was a little bummed that this second post-credit scene didn't end with Nick Fury bursting in and saying, "That's the
last time I trusted
you damn flirkin'."